This is the Northern Quest Resort and Casino Cougar Football Signing Day Special. Hear about the recruiting class from head coach Jimmy Rogers, plus members of the coaching staff. Today's show is sponsored by Northern Quest. Earn your bragging rights at Northern Quest with more slot machines, table games, restaurants, lounges, and luxury hotel rooms than anyone else in the region. Northern Quest. Yes, the best. More at northernquest.com. Now, live from the Cougar Football Complex, here are your hosts, Chris King and Alex Brink.
Welcome into the Cougar Football Complex. Here we are. It is the WSU Football Signing Day Special presented by Northern Quest Resort and Casino. Thanks for joining us. Here we go. We've got a busy morning planned here with Alex Brink, Chris King along with you. We got Jimmy Rogers stopping by next. Members of the coaching staff going to join us as we break down all 28 of the new Cougs that we get to learn about today and to kind of dive in and to talk more about. And then GM of the WSU football program, Ricky Ciccone, will be here as well. First, a big thanks to our presenting sponsor, Northern Quest. Northern Quest, earn your bragging rights at Northern Quest with more slot machines, table games, restaurants, lounges, and luxury hotel rooms than anyone else in the region. Northern Quest, yes, the best. More at northernquest.com. Alex? Good morning. It's a little earlier than I normally get to see you.
Good morning. You know, casual Wednesday here. I got my sweatshirt on, feeling good. It's, happy to be here. Happy to be on the Palouse on a weekday.
Plenty to be excited about. Of course, we've got this class to talk about. It's waiting to hear about the bowl destination. So much to look forward to in the near future and into the future for the program. Talk about these, 28 year Alex, and start to look together.
Yeah, time yesterday, kind of into the tape, and I think the thing that out to me is that there's a lot of ability here with a lot of upside, right? And you think about Coach Rogers and this staff, and kind of the way they recruited, say, at South Dakota State, and some of the players we've seen them bring in early here at Washington State. I think this is a class that fits that mold of really. They really understand what they want in a player at kind of each position. They also recognize, how an athlete might fit down the road, maybe not right away. And so, I saw a big geographical spread, right? You see athletes, from all over the country, which is great. That gets the Washington State brand out there, a quarterback from my backyard, Portland, Oregon, which is close to my heart, which is very fun. I saw a lot of team speed, and that's one thing that, you just, as they say, you can't coach. And so it's good to have, team speed at defense, running back, wide receiver position.
Some of the numbers to break it down: 28 signees overall. With that, kind of that offense-defense breakdown, 13 on offense, 13 on defense, 2 on special teams, and some guys that have had some great accomplishments here recently, have some big games coming up. Hudson Curlin, who you mentioned, the quarterback, won the 6A state championship in Oregon. That was last weekend. Brady Hummel won a 5A state championship in Nevada, won that last week. Kingston offensive lineman from O'Day. O'Day, of course, here in the state of Washington, playing in the 3A state championship this weekend. Trey Garrison, Toe Sanders, they're playing in the Division I state select state semifinals this weekend. That's in Louisiana. So some guys who are playing at a very high level, and so they've got some exciting things going on. Not only today, what a special day this is for them, but some guys who have had some great accomplishments recently and some things in front of them.
Yeah, and you want to recruit players that know how to win, right, and that are part of championship level programs. I can speak very specifically to Hudson Curlin. Lake Oswego High School is one of the best programs in the state of Oregon. It's the team that I played against in the state championship, when I was back in high school, and their head coach, Steve Corey, is a legend. And so, the fact that, Hudson won a state title there, knows what it's like to win and prepare. He's a multi-sport athlete. I mean, you love all those things. I look at, there's a group of young men coming from Louisiana, Edna Carr High School. It's one of the best high schools in the state of Louisiana, out of New Orleans. They're competing for the semifinals coming up, probably going to win a state championship potentially. I mean, those sort of things. I look at, kids that are playing at big high school football in Texas, Texas, right? Katy High School in Texas at the highest level. There's things like that, right? Along with the success and the measurables, they matter because it allows you to step on a campus at a place like Washington State and understand the expectations that the staff has for you and the level of play has for you.
And then one other to note, Savion Bartholomew, defensive tackle, he's playing in the Division II non-select state semifinals this weekend. That's also in Louisiana. And the class has an overall GPA of 3.1 as well. So what are you most excited? We got Jimmy Rogers coming up next. What do you want to ask him about when we've got Jimmy in the next segment? And we've got coaches. We'll have Danny Freund, Chris Myers, Jake Minich, Donald Kirkwood, Taylor Lucas, Jesse Bobbitt, Jalen Bibbs, Mike Banks, Pete Minich, Pat Cashmore, and then we'll have Ricky Ciccone joining us at the end. So we've got a lot to get to, but when we've got Jimmy coming up next, what do you most want to ask him about?
Man, I want to talk defense, right? Because it's been so fun this season, like on the call with you, to see this culture change at Washington State, where you've got a top 20, top 30 defense in the country, and you got guys, the impact players, right, and to some degree on the defensive side of the football with a defensive-minded head coach. And I was in the hallway, ran into Jesse Bobbitt. I asked him, who'd you love in the class? He's like, man, these 4 linebackers and nickels are great, right? That's the position he coaches. But I kind of want to ask, Coach Rogers, hey, of this defensive group coming in, how do you see them fitting into the scheme and the system? And they've had so much success in his career on the defensive side of the football. It excites me to look at a guy like Brady Hummel, right? A state champion in Nevada, best athlete on the field. He's a hooper. He led his team in points the other night. In basketball, he can dunk with ease. Like, guys like that excite me because they can come in and make a huge impact. And a lot of people around the country wouldn't know who that is, right? It's kind of the Tucker Large effect, right?
Yeah, well said there. And we'll have Jimmy Rogers coming up next. First, a reminder that a strong NIL program fueling a new era of Cougar athletics. WSU is creating opportunities that attract elite talent, keep our stars in Pullman, and unite Cougs everywhere. You can now support NIL through a tax-deductible donation to the Cougar Athletic Fund by the Cougar Collective's 18 Club, or by partnering in business with a student athlete through the show today. You'll see 3 logos pop up on your screen. If you're looking right now, that logo is right there. You see that QR code to make it easy to get involved. So these logos, you can scan the QR code and visit the NIL page on WSUCougars.com. Together, we're building the foundation for long-term success in the new Pac-12. You see those logos, the Cougar Athletic Fund, the Cougar Collective, and Playfly Max, and that QR code is right there. So we will take our first time out here from the Cougar Football Complex. It is the Signing Day special, talking about these 28 new Cougs that everyone put together here inside the Cougar Football Complex. We will take a timeout. When we come back, we'll be joined by the head coach of the Cougs, Jimmy Rogers. More after this.
Statistically speaking, your New Year's resolution will take a backseat sooner than later. Just make sure that seat's leather trimmed and German engineered. Introducing Northern Quest's $115,000 New Year New Benz giveaway. Play daily with your Camus Rewards card to enter, and on January 1st, you could win a brand new Mercedes. So you can drive past the gym in style. The New Year New Benz giveaway, only at Northern Quest.
With the WSU debit card from Giza, it's hard to tell who's supporting who. When Coug fans use their WSU card, they show off their Coug pride and donations are made back to Cougar Athletics. But the card supports the Coug fan by helping them grow their money. So does the card support the Coug fan, or does the Coug fan support the card? It doesn't matter. All that matters is that the WSU card supports Cougar Athletics and your wallet at the same time. Get your WSU card at Giza.com. Checking account transaction requirements, terms and conditions apply. Insured by NCUA.
Dear Traction, Toyota has 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. The RAV4 has legendary versatility. The Grand Highlander's adult-sized third row is for real. And the Tacoma's wild side comes standard. From job sites to campsites and game nights, there's an all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive Toyota to get you there in style. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. It's got that crisp, refreshing taste that makes every moment cheering on your team even better. Plus, the mountains on the bottles and cans turn blue when your beer is Rocky Mountain cold, so you never have to guess if your Coors Light is ready to drink. So crack one open, take a sip, and enjoy the game. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
We are back. It is the Cougar Football Signing Day special, and here we are with the head coach of the Cougs, Jimmy Rogers. Coach, it's an exciting day. What has you most fired up about waking up this morning and having everything all come together for this class?
Yeah, it was early morning, just here at 4:30 prepping because of the time zone change with how many guys that we had from, 2 hours away, just making sure that we were prepped and ready. But to add 28 players, 13 on offense, 13 on defense, 2 special teams guys. I'm pumped about who they are as players, but most importantly, who they are as people and what they'll do for us as teammates. So, yeah, it's been a great class. It's been a long year, but it's a joy to get to know these guys and their families.
Coach, I'm kind of looking at the list of guys, and you mentioned there's the geographical spread, but I'm looking at the positions, like pretty balanced on offense and defense. You mentioned the special teams. Seems like it filled some needs, both short term and long term.
Yeah, I think obviously with graduating the guys that we graduated, looking at that, balancing that, understanding that there's going to be potential needs potentially in the transfer portal, but to add these guys that we feel like will make an impact. They'll all have the opportunity to come in and compete and we'll push them to start, but they got to do the work, and that was always the constant message. I feel really good about the group as a whole, though. They got great length, great speed, very physical on the back end of the defense, and then I was really happy with the O-lineman and D-lineman that we could add for sure.
Putting together a class like this, I know that it's all hands on deck. Anything you want to say about not only the work that you've done, but the entire staff has done to make this all happen?
Yeah, I would say Ricky Ciccone and his whole staff have done an unbelievable job really since we've gotten here as far as identifying talent, communicating with players, having film ready for us. We do cut-ups of every single player that we go after, and a cut-up is really compiling all of the film, all of their game film, good and bad, and allowing us as coaches to maybe not spend as much time on a full game because they're taking really the point of attack and the true action inside the game that will impact our decision on a recruit. But overall, I'm proud of our effort. It's been a long year, like I said, but it's been a really productive year, and I feel really good about the overall class as far as who they are as competitors, because all these guys, a lot of them are all multi-sport players. They all have length. They all have verified times, and they're all just really good players. You could see what they've done for their team, and them being a part of winning programs is important because I want guys to know what it's like to win and want to win and not accept anything else but that.
I was telling Chris right when we got on, I was excited to talk about some of the defensive guys with you. Part of that is because, I'm sitting here watching the product on the field defensively that you and Jesse and the staff have put together, and you feel the culture change of defense. When I showed up at Washington State, it's one of the best defenses in the country, right? Won the Holiday Bowl, went to the Rose Bowl. So, and obviously, as that changed with the air raid, that's one thing, but you see that defensive culture, and I look at the guys and I watch this tape, and I see defensive backs that are violent hitters. I see, linebackers that can run and fit. I just wonder, as you think about recruiting those players to this system, like what are some of those traits that you're looking for, in general for defensive players?
Yeah, I think overall speed, agility, physicality, like I won't compromise agility and overall play for just having a big body. In our defense, you got to be fast. You could see what we did at the linebacker position. All of those guys are fast. They're all dynamic playmakers. On the back end of the defense, they all tackle in space really well. I heard you mention Brady Hummel. There's a guy that was under-recruited to me. I watched that film, and it just stood out right away. A guy that had savviness and the ability to make plays and plays on both sides of the ball, and getting to know his background, understanding that he's also a hooper, watching him 360 dunk. The guy's really athletic, but he's under-recruited. And those are the players that we've had the ability to bring with us, the guys that we recruited in the past, and they've made an impact. So I think it's more than just height, weight, 40 time. You got to see them play football, see if they have some savviness to their game and some natural feel. And then overall it comes down to like who they are as people, how they're willing to work, are they competitive, will they fit. And I feel regardless of what state they came from, I feel really good about this group as just far as competitors, because that's what this is. They got to be willing to come in and compete.
You mentioned, Brady's background as a hooper. Hudson Curlin's a high-level lacrosse player, the quarterback. Multiple guys here have, multi-sport backgrounds. How does that fit into kind of the evaluation process for you?
Yeah, I think that you can learn different skill sets that carry into football just from other sports. Like, I love that Hudson plays lacrosse. You want a tough quarterback, and he just happens to be really, really athletic and has a strong arm. And then also at the position, is he getting better? And as a junior, watching his ground level film to watching it going into the spring of going into his senior year, then watching it again, then watching games, just the progression that he's made, I think his best football's ahead of him. So you see a lot of guys get recruited off of initial 40 times and things that they've done at camps as sophomores. Maybe they've peaked.
Sure.
And I think it's really important to say, how is a young guy getting better? Is he blossoming? And because the goal is that they're playing their best football and can grow into being the best football player when they get on your campus. So there's a lot of youth on our team that is really athletic, and I'm excited about that, and I'm excited to add these guys because they're just going to, when you stack classes, that's how you have success.
Sure.
How special of a day is this? I know for the players, all these 28 players and their families. This isn't the end of their journey, but this is a big step in their journey and a big day to celebrate.
Yeah, it's a accumulation of work of years. Kids these days dream of playing college football. Maybe not all of these guys have played at the, youth level all the way through, but at the same time, this is something that they train for, that they're passionate about, that their parents invest into, whether it's getting them to and from activities. I think it's a joy for the family to watch anybody's dream come true. So to see these guys kind of get to this level, it's a testament to their work ethic, and I'm really happy for them because some of these, when you have conversations with the families and they commit to you in the office, it gets emotional. They're emotional, and it's really cool to allow these guys to live out a dream.
Does as you look at the conversations, like those type of conversations, the conversations you're having and the staff have when they go out across the country, when I look at the list of where some of these athletes are from, some of the schools they're from, some of the level of sports they're playing, or football they're playing in Texas and Louisiana and things like that, it feels like the fact that the Cougar head logo can walk in there and carry weight, and these athletes end up committing here is a big deal. Do you feel that when you're on the road that Washington State has that
no
connection?
Question.
Yeah.
There's a big reason my belief in this place, because I knew it growing up in Arizona, and the logo surely carries weight. But people are excited about it when we call. They give us an opportunity to hear us out, and we get to know them as people. We try to make sure it's the right fit. More than anything else, I'm just a big believer in the fit. We added some, we lost some. I'm not going to beg people to want to be here. Pullman's not for everybody, but those that came in loved it. And that's usually the theme, when we've had guys on our visits, is when they come out here, how beautiful it is, how the community feels. Then they get to know our staff, and they love the staff. So I feel like if we can get the right kids, on official visits, we usually close really well. We hit it out of the park with a lot of these guys. And I think that they're going to come here and flourish in a system that's going to highlight their skill set.
I saw, there's a lot of November commits, like guys that came to visits later in the year. You had, 9 flips, here late in the process. Do you feel like that speaks to, what you guys have shown on the field and, kind of the vision you have for this place?
It could, yeah. You'd have to ask the players individually that, but I think also it's just them being open and hearing us out and showcasing what we have here as far as the resources, what we can do for them as far as inside of a scheme, and the overall growth as a player, as a student. All those things matter, and I'm excited about this group. I can't say it enough. I think every time that you add a player, he's got to feel it inside of his core that, like, this is going to be a better fit than my current situation or where I'm at. And obviously, we lost a couple to Power 4 schools, and that's the nature of the beast. And everybody wants to play at the highest of levels, but for a lot of our future, competition, we were able to flip from them and come kind of back in late, although we kind of recruited those guys through.
Sure.
Just in the unknown. A lot of people will take a bunch of commitments and then drop them late. More importantly, I think it's really important to be honest with people so that when you do come back in on them and a situation opens up and there's attrition either on the roster or in your class, that they feel like they got a sense of honesty off the jump from you rather than doing them bad, at the last second.
We've had it up on the screen. I think we might be able to get it up here shortly, that QR code that goes to the WSU NIL page. We've been, mentioning that, and we'll mention it throughout the process. But folks can scan that QR code, go to the WSU NIL page. Just anything you want to share when it comes to putting together a class like this and having players come to Pullman, retaining them in Pullman, as far as the importance of that support goes.
Yeah, the importance of NIL is more important than ever. If you want great players that want to come here, you want players that want to stay here, we got to be able to take care of them. Otherwise, somebody else will be willing to throw that out there and take care of them for you, right? And so everything that every team that has success, when you look across the landscape of college football, in consistent success, not just 1 year success, they have retention because you're able to build it from the youth of your team and then stack, then relationships form, then they don't want to leave. And the more we can do for the players, the better product that we're going to have on the field. And I think that's fairly simple just by looking at what has happened here over the years.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, right, it's a combination of all the things. It's the great coaching, it's the relationships, it's the financial aspect. Like, that's the nature of it, right? And so I think all of that combined is why you end up continuing to have success, for sure.
There's never a dull moment in your job, but signing day's today. There's the excitement of learning soon of where the bowl destination will be and gearing up for that game. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. We practiced yesterday morning. The guys had workouts today just trying to take care of their bodies. We also have everything that has everything to do with, signing day today and the ceremonies that come kind of with it. And tomorrow we'll practice and get their bodies kind of back for the weekend, and then we'll find out who we're playing hopefully on Saturday, Sunday.
How many cups of coffee so far today?
Well, we were up early, so I don't even know. Had a couple full throttles in there already, but
I would have brought you one, man. I don't even know.
So the blood's flowing is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm like sweating it out as we sit up here.
Coach, we appreciate it. Congrats on this class, and excited to talk to you again, of course, before the bowl game coming up.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Coach.
Again, Jimmy Rogers stopping by here for the Cougar Football Signing Day show. Coming up, we're going to have Chris Myers stopping by. Excited to talk about those tight end commitments for the program. And again, our Signing Day special, the Cougar Football Signing Day special, brought to you by Northern Quest. Earn your bragging rights at Northern Quest with more slot machines, table games, restaurants, lounges, and luxury hotel rooms than anyone else in the region. Northern Quest, yes, the best. More at northernquest.com. Chris Myers, it's good to see you. It's an exciting day. Big smile on your face. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. Everything went how we hoped this morning, so couldn't ask more.
I've been waiting to talk to Coach Myers. I put on the film last night of these two tight ends, and oh my goodness, man, you got to be fired up.
I'm so excited. It's a good feeling when you get, you identify guys early as somebody that you want, and you get to take them all the way to the finish line. And,
sure.
We had to fight things at the end, and got them both home. So couldn't be more excited about both of them.
Yeah, I mean, speaking I'll start with Luke Gaylor, 6'6", 230, Delaware High School, big body, can move. Had a lot of interest from some big time folks here at the end, and you guys were able to finish it off, huh?
Yeah. Luke, was a guy early on. Like he was actually committed to Sacramento State super early in his process, and kind of kept at it. We saw him this spring, went and saw him in camp, all these things, and he was really exactly what we're looking for as far as that size and the ability to do multiple things. He played on offense and defense. Super tough kid. Great family. His mom and dad, Les and Summer, both both in law enforcement. Does everything the right way. Team captain, just the type of kid you're trying to bring in on top of the skill set you're looking for.
Sure. Drew Bird, 6'5", 225. I mean, both these guys, big, long, can run. I put on Drew's tape and hand in the ground, but then he's stretching the field vertically. Looks like he can do a little bit of everything for you also. Yeah,
Drew is, he's got that size to be able to put his hand in the dirt and do things, but he is, he flexed out a little bit more probably than Luke did just in his high school career, played a lot more outside receiver. Really excited about his growth potential of just like what he can be once he kind of focuses on just one thing of, a skill set. But, like I said, both of those guys were two that we identified early as somebody we wanted, and we were really excited to get them.
Nice.
Well, and the staff connections with South Dakota State and just that tradition of tight ends at South Dakota State certainly stands out. Tucker Kraft, Dallas Goddard. Those guys I know didn't come to South Dakota State as finished products. Can you kind of give us an idea of what the development path is like at tight end?
A lot of it actually has to do with the two guys that we got. The guys that you mentioned, and then you had Zach Hines and like these guys that became All-Americans for us. They were multi-sport kids in high school. They did a lot of different things. Most of the best tight ends don't play tight end in high school. And Luke and Drew are both that way. They kind of transitioned to that later as they just kept getting bigger and bigger. But the development for them is what you see. Like you identify traits and you identify like where you think they're going to be in a couple years, and they're both exactly on that trajectory that we think they could both be really, really special players.
Just more schematically, right? Like you see, at least now, and part of this because maybe it was the group in the building, but these guys look like kind of that traditional Y type of tight end, bigger body, like you say, can be in line if they need to. You see Trey Lechner right now. It's kind of more that H-back. He can do a little bit of everything. Do you envision recruiting like that, or does it just depend, like you said, the fit and the kind of the athlete that you need?
I think there's always a little piece of like, what do you need that year?
Sure.
But like we are trying to go a little bit more that way of like that true, NFL tight end looking body. But you want the guy that can flex out. You know, like tell guys all the time, I'm not looking for a tackle and an eligible number that can only catch sticks. We're trying to stretch the field. We're trying to do everything and try to be that that jack of all trades guy.
And I remember from when you were on the Cougar Football Hour, no block, no rock, right?
No block, no rock. Put it on the board so everybody believes it.
Love that.
Oh, that is great. Anything else? As Coug fans are tuning in, they want to know about these guys. They want to know about kind of the future of the room. What do you want those fans to know?
I want them to know that the future of the room is in great hands. Drew and Luke are both two guys that we were just so excited to get, just obviously as players, but as people. They fit here. They fit Pullman. Pullman fits them. They're going to be kids that are, when fans come to the game, like they're going to want their little kids watching these two guys because they were raised the right way. They do things the right way, and they reflect what we're trying to be here.
Excited about them being Cougs.
I can tell you from a quarterback standpoint, man, tight end's man's best friend at the quarterback position. You want these big bodies over the middle to catch it for you. They get box people out, right? Basketball backgrounds, it's the best.
A lot easier to throw to 6'6" and 5'6".
Yeah, see? There it is. I like that.
That sums it up perfectly. Chris, thanks for being here. Congrats on an exciting day.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris.
Appreciate you guys.
Again, Chris Myers, tight ends coach, joining us here on the Cougar Football Signing Day Special. It's all brought to you by Northern Quest Resort and Casino. Coming up on the show, and we'll also remind you, if you're just tuning in right now on Facebook Live and you're like, I missed the beginning of the show. So the show is going to be available later tonight on the WSU Cougars YouTube page. You can go back and watch it at any point in its full length, or if you want to drive around in the car or you're doing chores around the house, it will be available later today as well on the WSU Cougars podcast channel. So just look up WSU Cougars on your favorite podcast platform. It will be available, the full show, later today. So if you're just joining us now, or maybe you've got some obligation a little later in the show, you can catch the whole show on demand. We're going to take a timeout. Still to come, we'll have Danny Freund, Jake Minich, and Donnell Kirkwood joining us. We'll be talking quarterback, running back, wide receivers about this class. 28 new Cougs signing today. We'll dive into it in more depth right after this. We'll be back after this break.
That was fun.
Yeah, but I can't find my phone.
Maybe try retracing your steps.
What's this? Hello?
Find your phone yet?
I'm still thinking.
This Washington State University sports broadcast is brought to you in part by Pullman Regional Hospital, the official hospital of Washington State Athletics. Rural communities face unique healthcare challenges. By providing hands-on opportunities for WSU students in health sciences, nursing, pharmacy, and the Elson S. Floyd College of Medicine, Pullman Regional Hospital is helping to shape the future of local healthcare. Learn more at pullmanregional.org. Pullman Regional Hospital and Washington State, partners in excellence.
Cougs, to lead in the new Pac-12, we have to attack this together. Name, image, and likeness, NIL, is essential. It's how our programs recruit, retain, and elevate our student athletes who don the crimson and gray. And now, you can directly support WSU NIL through our Cougar Athletic Fund. A tax-deductible gift to our Sport Excellence Funds powers WSU's NIL efforts, all in one place. Visit WSUCougars.com and select NIL in the drop-down menu to learn more. Go Cougs!
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Cougar Football Complex, the WSU Football Signing Day Special presented by Northern Quest rolls on, and we are going to focus on the offensive side of the football here with offensive coordinator Danny Freund. And Danny, I know you are fired up about this group of guys on offense, but let's talk quarterback specifically. Can you tell us about this?
Yes, let's talk quarterback.
I know. Alex is can't wait. Let's just the two of you. Let's just dive right into it.
All right. I've known Hudson Curlin for a long time, since he was in middle school, so this is a little bit close to my heart. But, if folks that haven't seen Hudson Curlin on tape, 6'4", 200 pounds, super athlete, but, plays lacrosse at a high level, just won a state title at Lake Oswego, one of the best high schools in the state of Oregon. He gives me like Josh Allen vibes, Coach. Like, he's got that big athletic frame, big arm.
Yeah, I would have said, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert,
sure.
kind of the sunshine look from Remember the Titans.
Sure.
The biggest thing with him, I think, is just the potential and the upside to continue to develop and grow. We saw him, and I had a chance to go watch him throw in May. Some of the guys were there in January, and watching him on the basketball court, too, and just watching him dunk and just his movement skills there. And then just watching him throw a ball, it's natural, it's easy. He can create outside the pocket. Got a chance to get him up for a junior day and spend about 4 or 5 hours with him watching tape, get to know his family. So just from the talent standpoint and the leadership part, as far as what he brings to the table, and obviously won a state championship this year, finished strong. And then he was at basketball practice the next day, just a competitor. But yeah, we're really excited about him and his growth and his potential, and he was excited to be here, and glad we were able to get that one done this summer and keep him committed.
You talk as I'm listening to you talk, you're talking about like a lot of things you're talking about that are not just about throwing a football in there. And I'm interested, like, as you evaluate quarterbacks and have over the years you've been coaching, when you hear those stories about like the kids doing basketball practice the day after the state championship game, or your experience with his family, or I got to imagine when you sat here watching tape for 4 or 5 hours, there are some nuggets where you're like, oh yeah, like he's got it, he's a little different. Just talking about with quarterbacks how it's not just about the physical traits and it's about some of those other things.
It's so key, and I think the leadership portion, the ability to make guys better in the huddle, as you know, and just the competitive aspect. I think when you look at Hudson, like, he was at a different high school for 2 years, transferred over to Lake Oswego because I think he wanted more out of his experience. He wanted to grow. He wanted to get better. It was the same school his dad went to, same coach that coached his dad. So that was a cool nugget in there, just meeting the family. But when you talk about the confidence and the poise that you have to have at that position, I think a little bit comes from how you were raised. So just a credit to their family and that type of kid. But also just, we like guys that play multiple sports. We like guys that are smart, good decision makers. But you have to have a certain way about you and a certain confidence when you walk into the huddle or you walk into a room or things like that. I think you can kind of tell that sometimes at summer camps or at junior days, how they carry themselves, the confidence they have. Are they first in line doing drills? Just kind of some of that little stuff that I think at that position, if you want to win at a high level, you need that. So yeah, it's not all about the arm talent and the athleticism and all that stuff. That stuff obviously matters, but when you're evaluating guys, and there's so many of them throughout the country, like we flew all over the country watching quarterbacks this spring, and we ended up getting one from Portland, Oregon that I think is the best one that we saw. So we're really excited about him, and just those attributes that you talked about make a big difference.
Yeah, of course he's from Oregon. Of course he's the best they saw.
Have they had? Has this program had any success with a quarterback from Oregon before? You know? Yeah, there's a little history there. Danny, for you, we're kind of zooming out a little bit. You're not only fired up about Hudson, but just the guys signed on offense overall. We look at kind of that number breakdown on offense, 13 guys total, and we're going to have Jake Minich talk about the wide receivers, Donald Kirkwood to talk about the running backs, and also Taylor Lucas to talk about the offensive line. But of all these guys that you'll be in the trenches with, and guys we're excited to see make an impact in the future for the Cougs, what has you most fired up about these 13 guys total that were signed who are offensive players?
Yeah, I just think the makeup of the group in terms of their skill sets, their attitude, their character, just meeting their families, meeting these guys, and just having them back on visits, and just kind of the relationship part is so important in this recruiting stuff, and it matters a ton. But yeah, I think some of these guys, you just had Chris in here talking about those tight ends, Drew and Luke, and you're fighting off other people that are trying to get in on these guys late, and I think the relationships that we have with the staff and how we do it matters. But just from a talent standpoint, being able to get a Malcolm and Jamal and then the running backs, you'll talk to Kirk about those guys. It's about being explosive. It's about scoring points, and we've kind of been up and down this year, but I've been proud of the way we've finished. We're building momentum here towards the end of the year, and then hopefully you go get one in the bowl game and you start right again in January, building it through spring ball. And a lot of these guys will be mid-year guys that come in and have that 6-7 months to develop before next August. But, yeah, when you look at it, I think it's the explosiveness, the potential. You're not just recruiting guys for what they are now, it's what they're going to be, and they'll get with Coach Jacobs and our staff. And credit to the recruiting staff as well for doing an unbelievable job with this whole process. There's a lot of things that go into these days, and we get to get up here and talk about them, but it's a lot of people behind the scenes. So just mostly excited about the type of kids that are coming here to Pullman. I think our fans and our community will be excited about these guys, and we'll be able to put a product on the field that they're excited about.
I know, we're going to talk to Coach Kirkwood about the running back group, but, I'm thinking about kind of the group that's on the roster. They all have kind of different skill sets, right? And then I watched the tape of these three guys, and they kind of all have different skill sets too. When you think about your offense, are you hoping to have kind of that mix of backs, right? Guys that can be a little quicker, get out of the backfield, catch the ball, some kind of more power type of backs?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think, you talk about that at receiver too, building the basketball team with the ones, the twos. You get the bigs out there, but I think at running back, it presents challenges to a defense when you can have a Kirby go in there and kind of pound it, and then you bring Maxwell in or Angel and Leo. They all have a little bit different skill sets, but I think when you talk about running backs, just being able to be a complete back, be able to catch the ball out of the backfield, be able to protect, it allows you to play more snaps, and obviously they can run the ball really well. But like you said, the more versatile you are and the more you can get those threats on the field and use them in different ways, I think it helps you as an offense, and it helps keep the defense off balance.
They're showing C.J. Toney on here. He's explosive now.
It's cool. He's a really good baseball player. I think he plays center field. Not sure if he's getting drafted or anything, but he's hitting 98-mile-an-hour fastballs down there in Texas. Pretty cool.
Wow.
So I think those guys, the more you can play multiple
don't tell
sports.
The baseball staff.
Yeah,
Hold on, guys.
Yeah, Coach Choate, man, he lives across the street. He'll be knocking on the door, but. Yeah, it's a cool class. It's always fun to be able to get guys up here and show them what Pullman has to offer. They're always, the first time here, it's, they really fall in love with the place and the campus. And obviously you played here, and I think there's a lot to be said for this new conference moving forward and where this thing is going. So there's a lot of excitement.
Previously, you mentioned that mid-year number, 12 guys right now, so right around a dozen. The plan to be arrive in Pullman at the mid-year of the 28. So I know that's exciting thinking ahead towards the spring, and there's a lot between now and the spring. But to know you'll get your hands on those guys pretty early.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like the Senior Bowl or the Senior Day win, and then being able to get to a bowl game, send these seniors out the right way, and kind of create momentum. But it's also a big time for development for our team here next couple weeks, and then just getting these guys moved into the dorms in January and getting them in the in the weight room and kind of starting that process of teaching them the playbook and everything, getting them in the class. But I think it's always a special day. These signing days they keep changing the day, it feels like, every year, and it's. But you just go back.
We're going to get the calendar right at some point. They'll get there at some point. We're inching our way there.
And then a lot of times now you're just playing. So, I remember back in the day, it was a huge party in February, first Wednesday. And it's always a special day for the families because it's a lifelong dream to be able to, sign to play college football and earn a scholarship and all that. So just a huge shout out to these families and really excited for these guys coming in to be a part of our program.
A lot to look forward to. Danny, appreciate the time. Thanks so much, and we'll see you coming up for the bowl game soon.
100%. Appreciate you guys. Thanks again.
I can't wait.
Go
Danny
Cougs, baby.
Freund joining us here. It is the signing day special. We are live at the Cougar Football Complex. We're going to roll on talking about the offense. Up next, it will be Jake Minich who will be joining us, and we will discuss those wide receivers. A reminder that the show is brought to you by Northern Quest. Earn your bragging rights at Northern Quest with more slot machines, table games, restaurants, lounges, and luxury hotel rooms than anyone else in the region. Northern Quest, yes, the best. More at northernquest.com. Jake Minich tossing on the headset. Jake, it's great to see you. We've got Alex. He's salivating over the quarterbacks, but when you get someone like Alex and we start talking wide receivers, his eyes get big too.
Yep.
Alex, okay, this group of wide receivers, what was that? I know Danny mentioned, hey, we like a basketball team there. We like that different skill set of these guys here who are going to become Cougs. What did you like that you saw the most?
I mean, I like all of it. I like the speed. I like kind of like you said, the multiplicity, like guys that can do a little bit of everything. But also like there's some polish in there. It looks like some guys that can step in. I mean, I kind of want to start with Malcolm Watkins, like California kid, shows up on tape. He's like it's like he's playing a video game out there. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about Malcolm.
Yeah, so Malcolm, he's somebody that we reached out to right when we got here. Right. We watched his film when we got the job and really loved him early on. We thought the kid had multiple position flexibility, whether it was like running back or potentially safety, linebacker. And really, when you're recruiting receivers, I think that's the guys that you want to take, guys that have that type of position flexibility, right? Like us, Coach Banks with the corners, like we're all kind of looking for the same guy a little bit, But we loved his flexibility. We love how athletic he is and really what he could do with the ball in his hand. That's something I noticed on his junior film right away. It was like, hey, when this guy gets the ball in his hand, whether it's on offense, kick return, whatever it is, he's going to do something special with it. So, yeah, he's polished. He's already, big and strong for being a high school kid and everything. So, we're excited about him. He's going to be an early enroll kid that's going to get up here, in January here in about a month. So, excited about the impact that he can have and, get him up here and get him to work and everything.
I was talking to Coach Rogers a little bit about it as a good example. Like you said, you guys were kind of in early, saw him, when you got here through the summer. Mm-hmm. He commits to Oregon State. He's doing his thing, and then in the process, you guys maintain that relationship along the way, and now he ends up wearing the crimson and gray. I think speak a little bit to how you guys build and maintain relationships throughout the recruiting process with these athletes.
Yeah, so obviously, you get to know him and you get to know the family, right? And we did that early on, and like you said, he made a decision to go to Oregon State, but you want to keep those doors open, right, and never treat anybody poorly when they make a decision anywhere else, because you never know how things can change in the college football landscape, especially the world we're living in right now. So we kind of kept those doors open, and we continue to watch his senior film, every week, and we were really impressed with how much better he was getting every week and what he was doing on the football field. So, reach back out to him and just see if there was any interest, and we could get him back up here on campus. And obviously there was and everything, and the rest is kind of history from there, I guess.
Yeah. Jamal Polite Jr. out of Killeen, Texas. I mean, big high school football in Texas. Looks like a pretty pure receiver, can take the top off. Tell us what you like about him.
Yeah, really, I love everything about him.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love that tape too. So.
Yeah, no, he's a fast kid. He's a strong kid. He competes. The thing that probably stuck out the most to me, just like talking to him, was how much he loves football. Like this kid loves football. All he wants to do is talk about football. When I call him, he's playing on the game, usually NCAA or something, sure. Right? So the kid loves football and everything, and I love that about him. So he wasn't on our radar, as much during his junior season, but we were able to watch some of his senior film and everything and watch how he was kind of getting better and progressing throughout the course of the year. And we were like, wow, we got to get this kid up on campus, and start recruiting this kid. So, we're excited about him. He's already polished, but I think he still has room to grow too and has a ceiling a little bit that way.
For sure. Matthew McLean, you talked about position flexibility, pretty good athlete there. Same, got that build like already to him. Talk about him a little bit.
Yeah, Matthew's kind of in that same boat. He was somebody that we watched early on and thought, hey, this guy could play offense, this guy could play defense. He has multiple position flexibility. And like I said, when you're recruiting guys, I think those are the guys that you want to take, guys that are athletic enough to do everything. Matthew's a basketball player. He does track as well. So I love all those things about him. The basketball background is important, right? As far as like playing receiver and everything. So yeah, we're super excited about him. He's another guy that physically is ready to get out here and compete. He's already a pretty big, strong, well put together kid. So, we're excited about him and the impact he can have on this football team.
Is Carter perhaps a good example when you're talking to these guys to say, hey, there's an opportunity. If you come in here and you prove yourself, you can compete and you can see snaps right away?
Yeah, absolutely. Carter, we talk about Carter all the time in the recruiting process with some of these guys. Like, hey, we're not scared to play freshmen, right? If you come in here and you earn it and you learn the playbook and you're ready to go, we'll play you and everything, So, yeah, he's a great example of doing that. And those guys are all kind of similar to Carter too, right? Everybody's a little bit different at the receiver position, but some of those guys' skill sets are similar to him too that way.
Just watching our offense this year and the receiver group you have in the room right now. Not only are you asking them to obviously make plays downfield on the ball, but ask them to block and be a good teammate in that regard. How do you, as you go into recruiting athletes out of high school, how do you kind of say, hey, this is part of the deal. We're not just catching touchdowns, but we gotta block and we gotta be in the mix in the run game and things like that.
Yeah, you really just talk to the guys about how we need you to be the total package at receiver, and for us to be able to be successful and to be play well on offense, you have to have some type of balance, right? That's kind of everybody in the country. So we talk about that a lot. Like, hey, some games might look a little bit different as far as our role and what we have to do, but we have to buy into that, and we got great running backs too. Like, we got to do our part, and I show the guys all the time, like, when running backs are in there, doing a pass protection, picking up a blitz so we can take a shot down the field, right? And then it's our turn to go get a safety in the run game because it all, what goes around comes around a little bit, right? Yeah. That way. So, but our guys have bought into that, and even some of the perimeter screens and the RPO stuff that we do, especially when we're blocking for each other in the receiver room, the guys take a ton of pride in hey, I'm out there blocking for my brother. I got to make sure I'm doing my job so he can get his opportunity, and then vice versa. When it's my opportunity, he's going to do the exact same thing. So the guys take a ton of pride in that.
That senior day victory, able to send off a number of guys from your room with the win in their last game at Giesa Field. Josh Meredith, Leon Neal Jr., and going through there, Jeremiah Noga, someone who spent 1 year as a Coug, but seen plenty of time in his 1 year. Can you speak to kind of the future of the room? And I know you want to send those guys off with the win on senior day, did that, want to send them off with the victory in the bowl game, but some guys who saw quite a bit in action that they're out of eligibility.
Yeah. Well, first off, I appreciate those guys a ton, for everything that they've done for the program. And there's 3 of those guys that have started their career at Washington State and have been here the entire time, too. And I don't think we talk about that enough as far as what they've done. But, we're excited about the youth in the room. I've been fortunate. We've been able to kind of roll a lot of guys this season, and get a lot of guys playing experience, which there's skills and traits that those guys have had that we've needed. But it's also to kind of get them ready for the future, too, right? Like, we know that there's 4 seniors walking out the door here, and there can't be any drop-off, right? We got to hit the ground running next year. So, yeah, we definitely have some youth in the room that I'm excited about and have got meaningful reps and meaningful snaps out there. And obviously we got to go through spring ball and everything to get them ready, but they've at least got their feet wet a little bit, so they're ready to kind of take over the mantle here as we move into next season.
Well, Jake, we appreciate the time. Thanks for spreading the insight here on these new Cougs, and congrats on an exciting day.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate you guys.
Thanks, man. Again, Jake Minich joining us to talk about the wide receivers for the Cougs. We continue to roll on with the offense. On deck, it will be Donnell Kirkwood going to be joining us, but we'll remind you as you see that QR code on your screen that NIL is transforming the landscape of college athletics, and Cougar athletics is rising to meet the moment. WSU NIL efforts help us recruit top talent, retain key players, and strengthen the Cougar spirit from coast to coast. You can support these initiatives through a tax-deductible donation to the Cougar Athletic Fund by joining the Cougar Collective's 1890 Club or through a business partnership with student athletes via Playfly Max. You'll see all 3 logos throughout the show, and you'll see it up there, but that one is that QR code as well. If you scan that QR code, which is up on the screen right now, you can visit the NIL page at WSUCougars.com and learn more. Together, we're building sustained success in the new Pac-12. Go Cougs. Donnell Kirkwood joining us here, WSU running backs coach. Always great to chat with you, and you've got some guys going to be joining the room. Can you tell us about these new Cougs that signed today?
They're good backs. I think they're great backs, to be honest. Always have to work to see where they can go, but they all have a different set of what they bring to the table, which even makes it more exciting.
I'm looking at them, and you said that different skill sets, but one thing that stood out to me is you got 3 backs from big high school football in Texas and Louisiana, and they're breaking tackles and running away from people now. Like that's fun tape to watch and see those guys running away from probably some of the best athletes in the country, right?
Yeah, no, it's exciting to know that they can do a little bit of everything. That they have the attributes to play at this level and actually be successful at this level. So that's exciting to see.
Talk a little bit about C.J. Toney a little bit. He's kind of the different build of I would say the 3 for sure. Like a little bit smaller, but great bursts. Like clearly kind of a home run hitter type of guy. What do you see from him?
Just thick, explosive, sudden, right? Very decisive in his cuts. Just you can tell he knows what type of back he is and what type of back makes him successful. So, and like I said, he does everything. He catches the ball really well, and can play out of the backfield as well. So that's good for the room.
Trey Garrison at Nacar High School, big time football, really good player.
Yeah.
Almost 200 pounds now. He's a load, huh?
Yeah, he's a big boy. He runs physical. He runs very physical. He's an aggressive style. Something that's once again is different from the other backs. Just downhill, is going to finish a run, going to try to punish you, going to be aggressive with his stiff arm. So, like I said, a little bit different from C.J. Toney, but a very good back as well.
What about Tremaine Hill? You kind of add him in the mix too, and Katy High School. I have family that lives in Katy. I know all about Katy High School. That's a good football school, and he was a really productive back there.
Yeah, super productive, 3-year starter. Has some speed to him, also has size, already over 200 pounds, has vision, has patience, just brings a different style and tempo to the game as well. So just 3 backs that all complement each other in a different way.
How are you going to get them all to rock?
One rock, no block, no rock.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Well, that's the theme, right?
Right, no block, no rock.
I see a big smile on your face, and I know for you, we really had a fun time talking with you on the Cougar Football Hour and learning about your background. And your background wasn't just being a football coach necessarily, right out of playing football in college, that you kind of get the big picture. Not that everyone doesn't, but you really get the big picture. How is it for these guys? I know this is an exciting day, but I know you kind of have your finger on the pulse of what this means to these players and their families and what this celebration is like, because this is a really cool day for the 28 Cougs that signed today, and they're part of this 2026 class.
Yeah, it's definitely special. This is the dream before the biggest dream. You know what I mean? We all want to go play Division I football, and you want your family and your parents to be in the crowd cheering for you while you have those visions from a kid. So it's something to take in. It's something to celebrate. You hear Coach Rogers all the time say, man, make sure you take pictures. Make sure you get videos. Send us those pictures of you smiling and your parents celebrating, because they put in work just like you. They've sacrificed things you haven't even seen. So you can do this and try to reach your dream. And this is just step one of it. So it's special.
In this process for you, is there, obviously you're recruiting the running, or you're going to recruit the running backs. That's your position. But what about do you have an area of the country that you're focused on when you're doing recruiting?
Yeah, the main part for me is a little bit of Houston, Texas.
Okay.
Yep. So
right.
Coach split that area with Coach Banks.
You got it.
I love it. Any last thing you want Cougs fans to know about kind of what these guys mean to the running back room, and as we were talking about just kind of the future and what the future of the running back room is, because it's been neat to see all the talent that you've been able to coach this year?
They just mean that they're new to the family. You know what I mean? What they bring and what they are going to bring is just hard work, dedication, and we're just going to fit them in as good as possible. And the guys I have in the room are awesome. You know what I mean? They're great leaders. They're great teammates. It's like a brotherhood in there, you know what I mean? And they all have great attitudes, and I just can't wait for them to keep developing and get to the bowl game. Just keep seeing the work they've put in. So it's gonna be great.
Donnell, thanks for being here. Appreciate the time.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Again, that's Donnell Kirkwood joining us, running backs coach for the Cougs, stopping by here. It is the WSU Football Signing Day Special presented by Northern Quest. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we're going to have offensive line coach Taylor Lucas join us. Can't wait to talk with him. And then after that, we'll kind of go to the other side of the ball. It will be focusing on defense. We'll have Jesse Bobbitt and Jalen Bibbs. After that, Mike Banks, Pete Minich, and Pat Cashmore. And then closing things up, we'll have the GM of the WSU football program, Ricky Ciccone. More after this break. We'll be back after this timeout.
Statistically speaking, your New Year's resolution will take a backseat sooner than later. Just make sure that seat's leather trimmed and German engineered. Introducing Northern Quest's $115,000 New Year New Benz giveaway. Play daily with your Camas Rewards card to enter, and on January 1st, you could win a brand new Mercedes. So you can drive past the gym in style. The New Year New Benz giveaway, only at Northern Quest.
Everybody knows you shouldn't retire until you're 65.
Buying a house? 20% down or nothing, bud.
It's easy. Put your money into savings and never touch it.
There's a lot of questionable money advice out there. For financial knowledge that can help you reach your version of success, come to Gisa Credit Union. We can walk you through everything you need to feel confident about your finances. There's a healthier approach to money. Find it at Gisa Credit Union. GISA is an equal opportunity lender.
Download the WSU Cougars mobile app today, which features the latest news. Plus, it's your way to stream all of our Cougar Sports Network radio broadcasts. Listen to Cougar football, volleyball, men's and women's basketball, baseball game broadcast, plus coaches shows, all for free with WSU Cougars Game Day app. Take our broadcast with you wherever you go. Available now by searching WSU Cougars Game Day in the Apple App Store or Google Play.
Dear Traction, Toyota has 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. The RAV4 has legendary versatility. The Grand Highlander's adult-sized third row is for real. And the Tacoma's wild side comes standard. From job sites to campsites and game nights, there's an all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive Toyota to get you there in style. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Next, it is the WSU Football Signing Day Special presented by Northern Quest. Chris King here with Alex Brink, and we turn our attention to the guys in the trenches. We're talking offensive line with Taylor Lucas. Coach, thanks for being here. 4 guys on the O-line as part of this 28-person class. What do you want Coug fans to know about these 4 players who will be coming here to the Palouse?
Man, first off, thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys doing this. Man, we're excited about these guys. Number one, we got some size, and then just the overall athleticism, the toughness, and the competitiveness of the group is something that really fires me up about these 4 guys coming in. We're really excited for each of them, really.
A couple things stood out to me, Coach. First of all, Kingston Fatuali'i, from O'Day High School here in Washington. I mean, committed early seems like a big get to get a kid from a really good school to commit early and come in and be a part of it.
Well, that was a priority for us. We wanted to, anytime you build something, you want to own the backyard, and we're fortunate to have 2 guys, Kingston being one of them, and he's a winner. He's playing in the state championship this weekend, and won a state championship last year. Was our first real offer as an offensive lineman, was our first commit here, and we're fired up to have him. Just his background, who he is, his maturity, his ability obviously as a player is tremendous, but then the person who he is behind that is something that really fired us up about him. So excited.
Yeah, and then, again, local kid, Spokane, Washington, Meade High School, Cooper Dane, 6'5", 260. I mean, big body and can really move people now.
Exactly right. And it was funny, when we first got here in January, we were out, doing a recruiting Washington, and Coach Rogers was at Meade, and he's like, you got to see this kid. And we went and saw him work out, and it was a no-brainer for us. So we're excited about Coop and what he's going to bring. It's going to be a little bit with him, but his athleticism, his size, and he doesn't know how physical he could be yet, which is exciting for us.
Sure. Derek Warden, 6'5", 270, out of Queen Creek in Arizona. Good program down there. Probably going to be a tackle type of body, right?
Yeah, that's what we see him as. And, man, the thing that's been exciting about him is, we were on him early, and just watching his growth from his junior year to his senior year, he put 30 pounds on, or 30-plus pounds on. He went from, 240, 230 in his junior year, and now he's up to 270, and his athleticism and his nastiness, you can see it on tape, is unmatched, and we're really excited to get him here too. So
I saved my favorite one for last. Benjay Makalele, 6'7", 280-ish, let's say. But you'll tell more about his backstory. I just got to say what I saw on tape. This young man clearly has a basketball background, long, can run. First clip on tape, he steps out, and he's basically running step for step with a running back for about 30 yards. I was like, oh, that is a great-looking prospect at tackle.
Man, we're really excited about Benji, and he was, the one that he committed yesterday.
The clip right there.
Yeah,
that was it.
Oh, yeah, he's moving now. He's moving.
And
his story is so unique. He's born in the Congo. His parents live in France. He's living with a host family in Cali right now. He's really been in the United States since his freshman year of high school, and has played football for really 2 years. And, the thing you love about basketball players as offensive linemen is their athleticism. But the thing that stands out about Benji is obviously his upside. Unbelievably athletic and just a large human being, but he's a competitor. He's got 1,000 rebounds as a basketball player, 500 blocks, and he doesn't mess around in terms of competitiveness. And he's another one of those guys, as tackles, especially in his situation where he's only been playing 2 years, his ceiling is unbelievably high, and we're we're fired up to have him. Yeah.
How much of it, when you're recruiting these guys and they're part of this signing class, is it just like you're projecting out that upside? And I know is maybe the position most than anyone else on the team is the offensive line, where it just that development path takes some time, and looking at them and knowing, okay, that we get them in here, we put that weight on them, we get their coaching, and then it's like, okay, we know where that trajectory is gonna go.
It's such a developmental position, because everyone you see the guys out on Saturdays, they're all 300 pounds, 6'5". It's like, oh, well, you just go recruit those guys out of high school, and it's so
There's
much.
12 of them
exactly right. It's so much of, okay, do they have these traits? Number one, are they athletic? Number two, are they going to put their face in blocks and be tough and finish guys? And you do a lot of projection, and with these guys that we got here, they check a lot of those boxes for us. So it is you're projecting out there as to what they will be, not necessarily what they are right now, but with all four of these guys, they checked a lot of those boxes for us, and they're going to help this thing out. We're fired up.
Coach, you mentioned Benji and his competitiveness on the basketball court and going and getting rebounds. It just reminds me of that saying of how you do the small things, how you do all things, right? And people forget that this is not just about how good of a football player you are specifically. That matters, the size matters, all the things. But I look at this class, and we've heard it from almost every position coach that in this group, it's like these kids are elite at other things, or they have other traits that really matter, that speak to their character, but also probably how they're going to develop, because they got to come in here. You're going to ask a lot of them, right, to get in the weight room and eat and compete and all the things.
Exactly right, and that's the thing. And number one, recruiting multiple sport athletes like Benji, and Cooper's playing basketball right now too. It's always that competitive edge. You sharpen that throughout the year, and I think that's really important. And then you look at a guy like Kingston, the ultimate competitor, right? You won a state championship last year, and playing on Saturday again this year. It's those things are so important. And then, like you said, it's behind the scenes. It's the people that they are too. Derek is an unbelievably hard worker, and then the other three too are just great people and mature beyond their years.
Overall thoughts on the future of the offensive line position, those two guys who have been around here for so long, and Christian Hilborn and Brock Dew, and they've meant so much to the program that they're going to be wrapping up their eligibility. Just as you think ahead to, bringing these guys in and who will be back, what are your overall thoughts about what the future has in store for the offensive line?
Yeah, man, our future's bright. Brock and Christian have done, like we've talked about before, a hell of a job, and helping set the standard in the room for us, and they've really laid the foundation for these other guys coming up. Last week we saw Kyle Martin, start his first football game. Tripp has played a lot. Obviously, you got these other guys that are coming up, and we're excited. We get one more game with those two old guys, and then we get to, but we get to continue to develop these young guys. And in our room, we got a lot of bright futures, and guys are getting better, and they're doing everything we asked them to do, and it's exciting for us.
And we've seen it a little bit where I know out of necessity this year where you've had to, be creative at times because of injury, but Jalen Caldwell getting in there. Then Trevor Bindle getting a little bit of time. Noah Dunham at left guard. You mentioned Kyle Martin, where I know where maybe in the moment that, you don't want those guys to be hurt, but that could pay dividends in the future, right? Those guys getting a little taste of it.
Exactly right. They happen on really unfortunate circumstances, but they get those reps, which is invaluable. And because the only way you get better at football is truly by playing it and getting that experience, and really excites us, fires us up.
Taylor, thanks for being here. We're excited about these guys, these four that will be part of your position group moving forward, and can't wait. There's a lot to look forward to between the bowl game and getting these guys to Pullman.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Again, Taylor Lucas, offensive line coach, stopping by here. We are live from the Cougar Football Complex. Okay, we've talked about the offense in this 28-person signing class. We're going to turn our attention to the defense coming up. When we return, defensive coordinator Jesse Bobbitt will join us. Jalen Bibbs will stop by as well. Still to come, Mike Banks, Pete Minich will talk about the defensive backs. Pat Cashmore will talk about the two special teamers that are joining as part of this signing class. And then GM of the WSU football program, Ricky Ciccone, will stop by as well. More after this break. We'll be back after this timeout.
That was fun.
Yeah, but I can't find my phone.
Maybe try retracing your steps.
What's this?
Find your phone yet?
I'm still thinking.
Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. It's got that crisp, refreshing taste that makes every moment cheering on your team even better. Plus, the mountains on the bottles and cans turn blue when your beer is Rocky Mountain cold. So you never have to guess if your Coors Light is ready to drink. So crack one open, take a sip, and enjoy the game. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Okay, text from the wedding planner. She's talking about a cake pop mural.
Ah, exciting.
Ooh, it's $8,000. Oh. I don't know, we're trying to save for a house.
Well, you only get married once. Or twice. 3 times tops.
There's a lot of bad money advice out there. For knowledge you can trust, come to Gisa Credit Union. Whether it's saving for the wedding or everything that comes after, we can help get you where you want to be. Find a healthier approach to money at Gisa.
Cougs, to lead in the new Pac-12, we have to attack this together. Name, image, and likeness, NIL, is essential. It's how our programs recruit, retain, and elevate our student athletes who don the crimson and gray. And now, you can directly support WSU NIL through our Cougar Athletic Fund. A tax-deductible gift to our Sport Excellence Funds powers WSU's NIL efforts, all in one place. Visit WSUCougars.com and select NIL in the drop-down menu to learn more. Go Cougs!
We are back at the Cougar Football Complex. It is the WSU Signing Day special here with defensive coordinator Jesse Bobbitt. And before we really fully turn our attention to the defense, just kind of an overall look at this class that Jimmy Rogers and the entire staff putting together. 28 signees, 12 set to arrive in Pullman in the mid-year. 11 different states overall represented, 13 on offense, 13 on defense, 2 on special teams, and then the class and overall GPA of 3.1. So we are here with Jesse Bobbitt, and we got a lot to talk about with you because we can talk about the defense overall, but we're also going to talk about the linebackers. So let's go linebacker specifically. This class featuring 3 linebackers. What stands out the most about these 3 guys who I know are fired up to get here to Pullman and to don the crimson and gray?
Yeah, well, I think overall, as a group of linebackers that are coming in, they're very multiple and they're different, which is cool. So bringing in 4 different guys, 3 high schoolers, and a transfer from Mississippi Gulf Coast and Willie Breland, that they bring different things to the table, which is great because we want to be able to be multiple and not stack guys at certain positions, but see them all impacting us in the near future. And so at the end of the day, really excited about their abilities and what they're going to bring to the table. And yeah, I can go into detail on each of them or whatever you want to do next. But
I want to talk about a couple guys, with Esser and Calspec that you guys you've been on for a while, right? Recruiting, Esser certainly since he was a young guy out in South Dakota. Yeah. Maybe start there. I mean, that's obviously a guy you identified early as somebody that you really liked.
Yeah, no, Bradley, we have that connection where when we were at South Dakota State, and he's right down the road in Sioux Falls at Harrisburg High School, and we were his first offer, from South Dakota State. Sure. And when we made the transition here, we stayed in obviously a lot of contact with him, and we tried to get him up here as soon as we could, and extended that offer to Washington State as well. And the biggest thing with Bradley is his size, his physicality, and his multiplicity. On defense, he played safety in high school. He transitioned down to linebacker, so he's been able to play both. I think that's what's really cool. He's 6'2", 210. He's only going to get bigger, really violent at the point of attack. He's got good ball skills. Good linear speed, runs track, and really fired up about just him as a person too. We want to bring in the right people here that fit our culture, and he fits that mold for sure.
Yeah, and Landon Calspec, you and I were talking a little bit before. When I got here, similar in the sense 6'2", 215. He's got a good frame already for a high school kid. You see him play running back. You can tell he's a good athlete. Reminds me of some guys that have played linebacker at Washington State back when I was playing. Guys like Will Durding and Pat Bennett that were high school running backs that became fantastic, college linebackers. And maybe just speak to his athleticism and what you see from him.
Yeah, he's another guy that played plays 3 sports, right? He played football, wrestling, and lacrosse, and he's successful in all 3 of those. Plays at a very high level, which you love to see that out of guys coming out of high school. And then as a football player, he played out of the box like an outside backer last year. This year transitioned to the inside backer, which is great. I think just transitioning to what he's going to do for us. I see him playing that Mike position. He'll be enrolling early, which will be huge to have a spring, here in the next month to get him here. And I'm fired up about just his ability, his change of direction, his burst, his tackling ability. A lot of positives about him for sure.
And, speaking to Bryson Flynn and Willie Breland, probably going to be more in the nickel mold. Is that correct?
Sure.
Right. And one high school, one JUCO. So maybe, talk about recruiting at the JUCO level. A lot of that's just a different dynamic than even like back when I was playing. Obviously junior college was a great path to make it to college football. Portal things are different, but you put on, Willie's tape and you see him making a ton of plays, super productive, playing safety, and he's going to go to nickel. I think that athleticism really translates.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think, as things transition in this transfer portal world, the JUCO guys can be overlooked at times and have some connections down there just within our recruiting staff and where those guys came from, like, our general manager, Ricky, and being able to get to know Willie, get him and his family up here on the visit. I believe it was Toledo weekend is the weekend he was up here, and just getting to know him and showing him our vision for him and what you said, kind of transitioning from a safety down to a nickel and the multiplicity that he can bring to our defense. We're really fired up about the success that he's going to have and help us continue to have on defense.
Looking to the future, I'm thinking of the linebacker room where it's an interesting mix of there's some veteran guys that make a big impact, but also some youth that played a lot this year and made a big impact. As you're just thinking about what's to come and bringing these guys in, can you speak to kind of what that mix is and where the opportunities are and where guys who are maybe a little longer in the tooth, even though they're got a lot of college football in front of them?
Yeah, no, I think we're going to be young at the linebacker position for sure. So I think, bringing in someone like Willie, who's played at the college level, whether it's JUCO or not, he's played at that level. He has that experience. I think he's going to bring a little bit of that veteranness to our group, which is, I think, needed in a lot of ways at times from leadership or whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, I'm really excited about the group, the guys that we currently have, and then bringing in this crew. Again, very multiple, a lot of length, a lot of physicality, and the guys that did play this year as young guys are only going to get better, substantially better, and I look forward to the guys, that redshirted this year and didn't get as much playing time, only, continuing to go into those roles as well. So I think I'm really a positive outlook about the linebackers next year moving forward.
Bryson Flynn, high school guy, like you say, going to be in that nickel role, but 6'2", 190 already. I clicked on the tape. One of the first clips I see, I'm watching a running back run for, like 60 yards. I'm like, wait, he's not playing running back. And then out of nowhere, Bryson comes out and hawks him and forces a fumble at the goal line. The effort play, I got to think, outside of the athleticism and some of the obvious traits you're looking for, when effort plays like that show up on tape, that's got to mean something.
There's no doubt. And that's one of the first things that you always look for, those things that'll catch your eye right away that make you want to continue to watch, right? And dive into the actual film and the cut-ups, the good, bad, and ugly that we watch. And there's so much of that on tape. And his physicality is what stands out the most. When you get guys that are the length and coverability, all those things, you're like, man, I hope they can hit, and there's no question with him. He's going to run through your face, and so excited about that. The other thing is he's a track guy that runs 10.65.
Oh, wow.
A 10.65.
Whoa.
So he's got speed.
That's fast for everybody. It's listening that doesn't know. That's real fast.
Especially at that size.
Yeah, heck
right?
yeah.
And so we're fired up. But I talked to him this year. Hey, what do you expect him about this year in track? And he's like, I'm hoping to get into the 10.5s. And so that's putting on weight. So we'll see if that happens. But he came up on a visit with his mom and dad. Great people, raised the right way. Will fit right in with the type of guys that we already have on the team and what we'll continue to bring in.
How much does it help? I'm certain it doesn't hurt. The snowball effect of the impressive results the defense has put together this last year, the results out on the field when it comes to recruiting, and the recruits seeing what the team has done, the success of the defense, looking at that and being like, I want to go be a part of that. I want to be coached by these guys.
Yeah, I think it plays a big part. There's no doubt everyone wants to be a part of a winning program and a winning side of the ball, whatever that is, and compete at a high level and compete for championships. And so in recruiting, and with a lot of these guys, I've talked about, when we got here, this is what we said we were going to do on defense. And then when you look at we did that in a lot of ways. And so we had our ups and downs, weren't perfect by any means. But at the end of the day, if you just look at the numbers and the stats, we've made big jumps from last year to this year. And so really proud of those guys. Talked about, I think the biggest thing with that is like, yeah, this is the success we had. Here's how you're going to fit into that success, and whether you're replacing someone or trying to add more value to what we already do so we can be more multiple on defense. And that's really kind of what we're doing as we adjust within our scheme a little bit in the year to come, just with different body types and stuff, and allowing us to be a little bit more multiple.
This is kind of a ball question, so bear with me, Chris. But, I'm looking at the
I'm buckling up right here.
I'm watching it. No, I again, watching the defense this year, right? There was guys like Parker McKenna, right? Thinking about the linebackers, like guys like Parker McKenna, Caleb Franzel, they showed up consistently in at the line of scrimmage and where they made plays. And, I know that's obviously their ability and their understanding, but I got to think there's a schematic piece to it where, the Mike and the Will are showing up at the line of scrimmage and making plays. Just talk to me a little bit of very big picture about what that is and why they show up in such a big way.
I think the biggest thing within our scheme, and as how we've evolved over the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years, when I became a graduate assistant to where we're at South Dakota State, my first job, to where we're at now, is how can we just play to the strength of our players? So who do we want to fit the run? Who do we want to play man?
Yeah.
How can we disguise those things? And we've evolved from that. 5, 6 years ago, our linebackers were playing a ton of man. Now they don't play any man. And so how do you get away with that? Well, you disguise, you do different things. And so at the end of the day, we need to play to our players' strengths. And Parker McKenna's strength was what it showed up on film.
Yeah.
Out-physicaling people, no matter who we were playing against, being a run stopper, Caleb Franzel blitzing off the edge and playing in space, not necessarily playing man. Play to your players' strengths and find ways to do that within your scheme and be multiple out of doing that stuff. So.
Looking out at the whole defense here, and we're going to have Jalen Bibbs join us next, and we're going to talk about the guys in the secondary as well with Mike Banks and Pete Minich. But, we've kind of focused on linebackers, but for you're going to be working with all these guys.
Yeah.
What has you most just chomping at the bit, where you're looking at these guys that are being brought in overall, these 13 guys on defense as part of this 28-person class?
Yeah. No, I think, when you look at this year, a big strength of our defense started up front. And the success that we had rotating through guys, even when guys got injured, the guys that stepped up, I think you'll see that in the 4 D linemen that we're bringing out of high school, guys that are going to develop, but I think we got a handful of these guys that could come in and play. Yeah. And so, a couple of these guys are coming in early. Jake Jones, one of them, and I think that development, that piece being here and stuff, I think again, I would bet a couple of those guys are able to contribute early on and give us more depth. So fired up about the D-line position. Obviously, across the board, we're bringing in really good people. They were all up here. None of them have been sight unseen, right? It's something where we've gotten to know them, they've gotten to know us, and it truly is a fit culture-wise. And so as good as all these guys are athletically, we're fired up about, a big reason I feel like we had success this year in defense was creating a culture and a selflessness culture where guys are more worried about each other's success and a unit success, and I think these guys fit that. I think when we talked about those things on visits, when I met with them in coordinator meetings with them and their families or parents or whoever was with them, that was something that was attractive to them about what we were doing on defense, is the style of how we're going to play and what it's about and the standards and the culture and how we've created that. And so these guys all fit those mold, and as much talent as we have, from the back end to Toe Sanders to Mary Barnes, we've got a good class, and so fired up about them all.
It's been impressive. Culture is easy to talk about, but to see it actually come to fruition and in a short amount of time, tip of the cap, because everyone talks about culture, but it seems like it's been a real thing, and not only the results, but it's something we've discussed throughout the season, having to deal with injuries on the defense as a whole, specifically the defensive line, and it has been next man up throughout, and it has hardly missed a beat throughout the entire season that we've seen.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and that's a testament to the guys, the buy-in that they have, and a lot of times culture is words that could just be on a piece of paper, but if you put those words into action and we do a lot of things of daily reflections, words of the days, words of the weeks on defense, and things that bring them to life. We got them posted in their lockers so they can see them every day, the things that we stand for. And so you just got to bring those things to life and make them well known that you truly believe in those things. They're going to matter. You need to buy in, and if you don't want to buy in, that's okay too. But we're going to have success here, and excited about these guys coming in and leading us to have more success and keep pushing in the direction that we started this year on defense.
Jesse, thanks for the time, and can't wait for all these guys to get to town and the bowl game as well. It's a great time.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Again, that's Jesse Bobbitt joining us here, defensive defensive coordinator for the Cougs, focusing on the linebackers a little bit with him, but also talking about the defense as a whole. And I know a phrase that he just mentioned, buy-in. And when we talk to buy-in, coming up shortly, we'll have that QR code on the screen for those who are tuning in on Facebook Live, or of course you can watch this if you're just joining us midway through. It will be available to watch the entire show on demand on the WSU Cougars YouTube page. If you want to listen to the audio, you can download later today the audio of this entire signing day special through the Washington State Cougars podcast channel. But we're talking about NIL a little bit here as Cougar Athletics moving in this bold new era, strong NIL program leading the charge. NIL support helps WSU bring in elite talent, retain our top student athletes, and strengthen the Cougar community nationwide. You can get involved through a tax-deductible donation to the Cougar Athletic Fund by joining the Cougar Collective's 1890 Club, or by connecting your business with a student athlete through Playfly Max. Throughout today's show, watch for those 3 NIL logos on your screen, and then that QR code as well, which is up there right now. You can go to that QR code, and that will take you to the WSU Cougars NIL page. Let's build this future together. Go Cougs. We got Jalen Bibbs joining us here. Coach, always great to see you. It is an exciting morning. I feel like you're just containing a smile right now that's about to break out. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's a great day to be a Coug.
It is a great day to be a Coug, and give us a little taste here about these new Cougs that you're going to be working with on the defensive line who are part of the signing class.
Yeah, we got a really deep group, I would say, overall, just from a talent standpoint. Pretty heavy on the interior and defensive line, signing 3 defensive tackles and 1 defensive end. But all of them, obviously, high skill sets on the field, but great people off the field. That's one of the things that we're always making sure that we do a great job of, is finding guys that fit the mold of what we want from a production standpoint on the field, but finding the people that fit the culture of what it is that we're working to build here. So feel really good about the group that we have up front coming in.
Couple guys on here. I mean, they're all obviously talented and successful, but looking at Savion Bartholomew, I mean, he's going to be playing in the state semifinals this weekend. Like, hopefully win a state championship. Jake Jones was first team on both sides of the ball. Like, player, you don't see that as like a D tackle and an offensive lineman being like player of the year of your section. You know what I mean? I feel like this is a group of guys that not only are they physically gifted, but they actually made the impact kind of week in and week out for their high school teams.
Absolutely. So, I mean, starting with Savion, you can see the highlights pop up on tape. There's not many big dudes that are as nimble as he is. Right. He's got really good foot speed, weighing about 285, 290 pounds right now. And like you said, Alex, I mean, he's doing a great job on both sides of the ball. Past Friday, his mom had sent me a 25-yard corner route that he ran. And it was a touchdown. And just the skill set that he has, the athleticism that he has for a guy as big as he is really impressive. So he's a guy we're really excited about. And then Jake Jones, another guy that did great things on both sides of the ball this year. He was our first defensive lineman that we had committed in this class. He's actually going to be an early enrollee as well, but a really physical presence. He's got extremely heavy hands, very stout against the run, does a really good job as far as being able to collapse the pocket as a pass rusher. So we're really excited about him. One of the things that we talk a lot about in the D-line room is having some gusto, having some swag to you. And Jake is that, in every sense of the term. He just plays with a relentless motor, and he's already gravitated towards a lot of the guys that we have within the program. So we're really excited to be able to have him join in as a Coug.
Looking at Tyler Bernstein, kind of longer, but got some room to fill out now. Is he going to be more your D tackle or defensive end?
So he's going to be playing on the edge for us. Yep. Okay. So he is the one defensive end that we have coming in this class, and he had a great year for Liberty this year. They won in the state championship last year, and he was a big part of that. And I think he's in the running right now to be a defensive lineman of the year in the state of Arizona. He's had a lot of production this year, getting after the quarterback and then being able to be dominant against the run as well. And like you mentioned, he's got great length, great size. So when we do get him here and we get him in the weight room and we get him the nutritional resources that he needs, he's going to be able to fill out really well to be a dominant defensive end for us.
Javon Joseph, 6'4", 265. Kind of looks like he might be ready to go here pretty quick if he puts on a little more weight. But I mean, he's going to be ready to go, huh?
Yep, he's another guy that has a really good frame that is going to fill out really well once we get him in and we start to develop him from a physical standpoint. He got dinged up a little bit this year, so I know he wasn't able to play as much as he wanted to this year. But myself and Coach Rogers, we were able to see him at a camp this past summer, and that's when we officially extended him the offer. And it was just really impressive just as far as how he was able to utilize his hands, like his block clock destruction is very efficient, So we're really excited about him and just the potential that he has to be able to continue to improve and be a dominant player for us as well. But he's going to be another inside guy that we're really excited about.
I feel like Coach Bibbs has been the most natural so far of watching the highlights, incorporating it in. We've got some of the highlights right here. What are we looking at?
He's been on the mic before,
Yeah, I got a saying in the D-line room, the camera loves Jalen Bibbs. So this is my element right here,
Coach, we were talking with Coach Bobbitt about, the injuries on the defensive line, but kind of the next man up mentality. It just felt like didn't matter who was in there, right? Like the number changed, but the production stayed the same, right? And I gotta imagine for you as a coach that kind of warms your heart as like this is what we do in the room week in and week out when a guy that's 2 on the depth chart or 3, quote unquote, it can step in and play like a 1.
Yeah, I would say that's one of the things that we've constantly been preaching in the defensive line room is that no matter who goes off there, we have a certain standard as far as the production that we want to be able to achieve when we're out there on the field. And I think the guys have done a really good job as far as buying into that, and being ready for their opportunities when they present themselves, because obviously we've ran into some unfavorable situations this year with some injuries that will always happen. We have had that next man up mentality, though, that I do believe that our production, it never fell off, regardless of who ended up getting nicked up. And I do believe that the recruiting piece, that was a big part of that, too, to be able to make sure that you have the pieces in place that when you do run into those unfortunate circumstances, there is no drop-off. And I do believe the guys that we have that we're bringing in this class, Savion, Tyler, Jake, Javon, like they're going to continue to be able to allow us to be able to have one of the most dominant defensive lines in the country.
And that depth was on display, and we see you rotate quite a bit on the defensive line, and maybe that rotation had to get a little tighter with some of the injury issues. But I imagine it's nice for these guys to see who want to come in and make an impact as soon as possible, that there is that rotation piece, and guys are getting out there, and some of those younger guys too are making such a big impact.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're a 6th-year guy or if you're a true freshman. The guys that can play and help us win games on Saturday, those are going to be the ones that are out there. And obviously you have to earn those opportunities, but just the competitor that we're bringing in with all 4 of these guys, I do know that they're going to be chomping at the bit to be able to have an opportunity to be able to produce next year. And we saw it from this year with Donovan. Donovan was a true freshman playing defensive tackle for us, significant reps, especially this last game against Oregon State. He was able to get his first career sack, which was pretty exciting for the group. So that's one of the things that we're constantly preaching is that, hey, when you come in, you're going to have opportunities right away to be able to go earn reps on Saturday. And I think that's the thing that I'm most excited about with this group is they're going to come in chomping at the bit and ready to attack that stage.
Where was the excitement level for that Donovan sack? Everyone's fired up when there's a sack for a D lineman, right? But is that kind of towards the top for the year?
Yeah, I've never had to try to pull so many guys off of the field as I had to on Saturday when that happened, because all of those guys, they were just so juiced up for them, all of them running out there on the field, which is what you want. Like we talk a lot about celebrating success and being more excited when one of your guys makes a play as opposed to when you make a play, and I think that truly came to fruition out there when Donovan got that sack.
And Coach Rogers telling us before, I believe it was a week or 2 ago, that Max Balloon, his future plans, exciting that even though he's had some unfortunate luck with injuries this year, that he plans on being back. So to have a wily vet like that with all the returners plus these guys, there's a lot as far as the future is bright for the room.
The future is really bright. We do have a good mix of youth that is coming in, and we also have a good mix of guys that have been around the block and guys that are going to be able to help bring that youth along a little bit quicker. So we're really excited to be able to have Max back. Obviously, he's a great player, he's a captain for us. So just that leadership role that he was able to have this year, even though he did get nicked up and wasn't able to finish out the season the way that he wanted, it was still critical as far as being able to bring some of those younger guys along, like a Donovan or a Connor Sullivan, and that will continue to be an important piece for this next crew coming in as well.
Great stuff. Coach, thank you. Exciting day. Congrats on these guys that are part of the signing class, and looking forward to the bowl game and seeing these guys here in Pullman.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys for having me.
Thanks,
Go Cougs.
Again, that is Jalen Bibbs joining us here. It is the WSU Football Signing Day Special presented by Northern Quest. Northern Quest, earn your bragging rights at Northern Quest with more slot machines, table games, restaurants, lounges, and luxury hotel rooms than anyone else in the region. Northern Quest, yes, the best. More at northernquest.com. Still to come when we return, We're going to talk about the DBs. We'll have Mike Banks and Pete Minich joining us. Then we'll talk about this 28-person class. We've got 2 special teamers. We've got special teams coach Pat Cashmore stopping by, and we'll wrap things up with the GM of the Cougar football program, Ricky Ciccone. That is all after this timeout. More to come.
Statistically speaking, your New Year's resolution will take a backseat sooner than later. Just make sure that seat's leather trimmed and German engineered. Introducing Northern Quest's $115,000 New Year New Benz giveaway. Play daily with your Cameras Rewards card to enter, and on January 1st, you could win a brand new Mercedes. You know, so you can drive past the gym in style. The New Year New Benz giveaway, only at Northern Quest.
With the WSU debit card from Giza, it's hard to tell who's supporting who. When Coug fans use their WSU card, they show off their Coug pride and donations are made back to Cougar Athletics. But the card supports the Coug fan by helping them grow their money. So does the card support the Coug fan, or does the Coug fan support the card? It doesn't matter. All that matters is that the WSU card supports Cougar Athletics and your wallet at the same time. Get your WSU card at Giza.com. Checking account transaction requirements, terms and conditions apply. Insured by NCUA.
Dear Traction, Toyota has 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. The RAV4 has legendary versatility. The Grand Highlander's adult-sized third row is for real. And the Tacoma's wild side comes standard. From job sites to campsites and game nights, there's an all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive Toyota to get you there in style. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. It's got that crisp, refreshing taste that makes every moment cheering on your team even better. Plus, the mountains on the bottles and cans turn blue when your beer is Rocky Mountain cold. So you never have to guess if your Coors Light is ready to drink. So crack one open, take a sip, and enjoy the game. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
We are back at the Cougar Football Complex. The WSU Football Signing Day Special presented by Northern Quest rolls on. Chris King here with Alex Brink, and we're excited to have Mike Banks here. We're kind of turning our attention to the secondary for the Cougar defense, and starting with the cornerbacks, Amari Barnes, Bryce Heckard, Torrance Toe Sanders, those guys that you'll be welcoming into the room. What about these 3 guys has you most excited about them becoming Cougs?
Yeah, all 3 of these guys present something different, that I feel like is good for the room. But in all 3 of these guys, you got great athleticism. You got kids that can really run and kids that can play the football in the air, which I think is some of the most important things that you got to be able to do to play cornerback for us.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of looking at the 3 of them, the one that stood out to me was Torrance Sanders. I mean, 6'2", 190 pounds, like body type that you don't see a ton of at the high school level for sure, and obviously playing for a good football team in New Orleans and Edna Carr. Talk a little bit about him and his ability to tap. I mean, I saw it, like he'll jump off the tape and he'll hit you now in the corner position.
For sure. So, Toe is a big physical presence, that we'll be having coming in. Obviously, like you just stated, playing for probably the best high school in the state of Louisiana. They're in the semifinals this week, won a state title last year. So he brings that pedigree, just playing in tough, competitive games week in and week out. And some of those practices are probably super competitive as well with some of those guys that are there on that roster. But Toe does a really good job of closing space. When you watch his film, he does a really good job of closing space. The receiver may have a little bit of separation, but he closes the space so well. And like you say, big physical kid that tackles well.
Amari Barnes, late ad here, which it seems like a really good gift for you guys. Out of Katy, Texas, 5'11", 180. Again, looks great ball skills. Kind of looks like he's a pretty complete package for a high school player.
Yeah, for sure. It's Amari too, by the way. It's Amari. But he brings a different set of athleticism. If you watch his tape, he's a kid that is probably the best receiver for his team. He's the best DB for his team, and he can also return kicks. Yeah. So and he brings just a different speed. He's a 10-6 kid out of high school, so and that's early in his career. So he brings that athleticism, that explosiveness that you like to see in the back end.
Bryce Hecker, junior college kid, City College of San Francisco. You get a little bit of a veteran presence. You know, obviously there's going to be some turnover at the position on the roster right now. So getting him in's got to feel good.
Yeah, that's a good get for us. Like you say, having some turnover, losing the 2 seniors in the room. Bryce will bring us a veteran presence. That's played at this level already. So that'll be huge. He's kind of a mix between Toe and Amari. He's got good speed. He's a physical kid, and he plays good man-to-man coverage as well. So he'll be a good addition. It'll be good to get him in here at the mid-year and get him rolling.
And maybe you can elaborate on that because of the cornerback position. We've seen really high-level play, but it's been guys who have seen a lot of snaps in their college careers. Colby Humphrey, whether at NAU or South Dakota State, and then coming here to WSU, we saw that pick he had last week. And then Jamari Colson, Coug fans know him well for what he's done for multiple years here. So you're going to be losing those guys. They're out of eligibility, but great opportunity for the young guys who are currently within the program, and, of course, these guys coming in.
And we'll be really young next year, and I do believe that there is a difference between practicing really well and then playing in the game. It's just different. So when you lose that experience, you hope that you can have somebody. That's why Bryce is huge, that does have that experience, that he can come in and hopefully take some meaningful reps for us next year. But it's on us to get these young guys ready to roll, and we're going to put them in challenging environments every day in practice and get those guys ready to play.
Yeah, and kind of speaking to that, watching the scheme this year, and a lot of is asked of the corner position in this defense. You're going to play man coverage, right? And you're going to be kind of matched up on guys on the outside, but then you're going to need to show up in the run game at times and make plays, at the line of scrimmage and stuff like that. Speak to kind of how you get because you got new guys that come in and got to learn that philosophy. But speak to how you kind of talk to guys about that mentality.
I don't want to recruit guys that don't have those capabilities already, So that was a big thing when recruiting these 3 guys was, we ask a lot of our corners. Our defense works well because of the way that we play on the perimeter. You got to be able to play man-to-man all game. You're out there on the island by yourself, and you got to want to do that, But you also have to have good zone feel because we do put our guys in zone coverages, and, you got to be able to read routes and, kind of feel if something's in front of me, something's probably behind me as well. And the last thing is you have to get in the run fit, right? That's just how offense is now. They whether it's an RPO where you're getting the ball on the perimeter or you crack blocking to put corners in the run fits, you got to be able to make plays on the perimeter in the tackle game to you to have a successful defense. And that's the type of kid that we go after, that are showing and proving that they can do that.
It's been a blast learning about these guys. We're excited to see him here in Pullman. Mike, thanks so much for the time here today.
No, I appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Coach.
We got Coach Mike Banks stopping by here as part of the Cougar Football Signing Day special presented by Northern Quest. We're going to transition. We're talking DBs. We're going to transition from quarterbacks to safeties. Pete Minich going to join us coming up next. And then still to come on the show, Pat Cashmore will be by to talk about special teams. And then we'll wrap things up with Ricky Ciccone, GM of the Cougar Football Program. A reminder, if you're just joining us right now and you missed the start of the broadcast, the full broadcast will be available to go back and watch on YouTube, the WSU Cougars YouTube page. That will be later tonight and will be up there forever after that. And then if you want to listen to the audio version of the full signing day special, that will be available later today through the Washington State Cougars podcast channel. Look it up, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can find it there. We got Pete Minich joining us, so we're talking about the cornerbacks. Now we're transitioning to the safeties. Coach, here we are, the safeties. Who are these guys that are part of this 28-person signing class so are going to be joining your position group?
Yeah, Jackson Williams is a kid from New Orleans down there in Louisiana that I'm really excited about, and Brady Hummel from Reno, Nevada. So those 2 guys are 2 big, long, physical kids that will come in and push the group right away, and we'll see what happens. But they have all the ability to come in and make an impact.
I mean, these are a couple special athletes, Coach. Like,
no doubt.
I mean, for real. Brady Hummel, like, you've seen him, like, the way he can move and dunk and do the everything on the basketball court, but then you turn on the tape and he's the best athlete on the field, right? On every time he's on tape, and obviously, I mean, Jackson Williams is getting recruited by everybody. It seems like pretty much, and was originally committed to Tulane, which obviously is a great program, and to get both these guys in the Crimson and Gray has got to feel really good for you.
No, it's awesome. The safety position is vital to us playing good defense, and those guys being able to do a lot of things and compete at a really high level and where they were at in high school. Plays a big role in us being able to, take the next step in defense.
Jackson Williams from New Orleans, big connection obviously with Ricky Ciccone down there, having come from that area. A lot of athletes from that New Orleans area. It's good football. Jackson Williams, just talk about his length and his ability to kind of come up and hit and make plays in the run game.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I turned on his tape, he makes an unreal play where he gets out of a break and, goes and, gets PBU, kind of uses every inch of his length.
Sure.
So that was the first thing that stood out, was to have a long guy back there is big. The competition that he's been going against his whole high school career has been impressive.
Yeah.
We know the type of football that happens down there. So definitely think, his length and athleticism, will translate well for us, and we'll get a little bit different look out there just with with his length.
Yeah.
Similar theme we talked about with Coach Banks, but the cornerbacks, they're losing Colby Humphrey and Jamari Colson. Guys who have played at such a high level for a long time as part of your room with Cale Reeder and Tucker Large and Matthew Durrance. How is it going to be with having to transition away from those guys when they're out of eligibility and having the guys who are here step up into bigger roles, and then have these two guys come and join the mix as well?
Yeah, I'm gonna miss those guys. Obviously, it's a little bit of it is irreplaceable. The amount of reps that those guys have taken over the years at a lot of high competition. But they've done a really good job of coaching up the youth, getting those guys ready. The youth has done a really good job taking those guys' words and what they do on the field and trying to replicate it as well as they can. Now it's just going to be about catching up with reps, and spring ball is going to be a battle, and it's going to be fun. We're gonna have to earn those paychecks and get them coached up, and I'm excited, man. I'm excited to coach the young guys up, and the two guys that we have coming in couldn't be a better fit. We talked about Jackson, but Brady Hummel also coming from a football family, and his ability to understand football is really exciting. So.
Yeah, no state champion, right? So
yeah,
played at a high level. Like, you talk about the mentality when you talk to those kids, and you said, like, dad's the coach, right? And things like that. So I'm sure the conversations, right, is you got a mature kid that kind of knows what the expectations are at this level.
Yeah, it's fun. It was fun to hop on the phone with Brady the first time and just really talk some football. Explain to me what you do in your defense, and have him, be able to take me through it. I'm like, okay, cool, we can work with this.
Yeah, sure.
But no, he's an unreal athlete. He, like you said, played in a state championship. Dominated the state championship against a really talented team, and a lot of that was on him. His stats are unreal. I think they just posted something.
He literally does everything. It's
unreal.
Incredible.
Yeah, and I think he had 1 or 2 practices before his first basketball game, put up 18 points
the
the other night.
Led the team in scoring.
Yeah, just really excited about those guys.
It just reminds me of me, on the basketball court.
Exactly. I see you out there dunking all the time, right? The 360 dunks we're talking about.
Yeah, I think the multi-sport guys, they have played a big role, just as us as a staff, in the past. You talk about, Tucker Large obviously being a really good basketball player.
Yeah.
Cale Reeder was a really good wrestler. So guys that can do a lot of stuff, it translates to that safety position, the corner linebacker position, being able to move in space and have a little bit different feel for the football.
Yeah. Final word, anything you want Coug fans to know that we haven't touched about these guys that are going to be part of it all?
No, we just brought in a good class. I think they're going to be excited about, them as people when they get here and they start interacting with the community, and good things to come.
Excited. Pete Minich, thanks for being here.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
That is Pete Minich. We're talking about safeties kind of overall during this segment, talking about the defensive backs as well with Mike Banks joining us. We've got Pat Cashmore going to be sliding in here momentarily. Reminder, this class, 28 signees for the Cougs, 12 signees set to arrive to Pullman in the mid-year, 13 on offense, 13 on defense. And now we're going to talk about the special teamers. We got Pat Cashmore here. Pat, it's an exciting day. How are you doing?
Excited.
Well, the guys we have coming in, we've got a long snapper and a kicker and punter as well. Maybe you can give us more. We'll start with Greg Hubbard, kicker and punter. Does he have a specialty there? Is it kind of all in front of him? How would you describe him?
Yeah, Greg is more of a kicker who punts. Most times in high school, you either do one or the other, and so he's just really talented leg. The ball really comes off his foot. He's got great lift, and we love the ability that he can do both, and we'd like to develop him in both realms. But he is a kicker. He's got a great kickoff leg. You can see the ball, just the lift on field goals. I mean, a lot of the majority of blocks happen in the A-gaps with low kicks. Well, when you have a great lift like he does, you don't have to worry about that. And so he'll make me look like a really good coach. So love that for us. And then we have Jeremy, who's a long snapper, and just excited about him. I think every good field goal kicker, it starts with the ball, the snap. And so he's firing that ball. He's out of Laney College, and he's gonna do a great job for us.
Talk about the recruiting process for the specialists, right? Like everybody I think can wrap their head around like what it's like to go find a quarterback or go eval a defensive end or whatever. But for the specialists, like how does that process happen?
Yeah, so a lot of them do a lot of the kicking circuit, like Coles and all that, and so that's just more of a starting point for me. Okay. And for me, so gathering those names, then it's really important that their camp season shows out for fall. So I really wait for the fall season to see, hey, what you did in June and July, is that showing up on Friday nights? Because that's really what's important. If you can go out in an empty stadium and kick on sticks, it's not the same as having a holder, having a snapper, having all those things live. Sure. And so it really starts the summer showcases and then making sure that, hey, that shows up on Friday night in their high school games, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Is that usually like heading into their senior year, or do you see them, or you know what I mean? Like
yeah, that makes sense. Like, well, they get a ranking probably their freshman and sophomore year. Sure. I usually start their junior year because that's kind of when we're going to start our evaluation process. Sure. So.
And then how is it, talking about Jeremy as well, speaking to him and then tracking him and seeing him to the point like, hey, we're going to have a need there. We're at least going to minimum have a need for competition.
Yep.
He's the guy we want to bring in and have him here and have him in the mix.
Yeah, I think it just starts with the speed of the snap, right? He just kind of got on our radar, and he's just very accurate. And then the speed of his snaps has been really impressive. And usually junior colleges, it fluctuates with the talent. And so he just got on our radar, and we were really impressed with him. And then the biggest thing for us is he's a blue-collar guy. He just wants to go to work, wanted an opportunity, and I think he's just going to improve our punt and field goal operations by having a great snap.
And he's going to be here in January, is that
right?
Yes,
sir.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
I feel like you still have a glow about you with Tony Freeman breaking the single-game punt return yardage record.
Man, that was exciting.
That's we're just catching you kind of right after that. I said that's a good day for the whole program, but for you as well. That's got to be a nice feeling when you hear that and you know that the kind of impact that he had in that game.
Yeah, it's a testament to the entire unit. I mean, he did a great job. Obviously catching the ball. We all were making fun of him, the alternate jersey. We had Polana going out there, and we said, hey, we need to do this more often. But I just think it's a testament to everyone on the unit. Everyone, believes the guy back there is going to make a big play. And then when you believe that, you're going to block a lot longer. I know it's kind of simple, but he did a great job, and it was a lot of fun seeing him have success.
I mean, I got to be honest. The thing about special teams, right, is what Tony Freeman did was fantastic. But more importantly, right, throughout the course of a year, special teams is something that you feel like you don't notice until it's going bad, right? And so the units were so solid throughout the year,
100%.
For the most part. And it's hard over, a 11, 12, 14, whatever game season. Like, that's hard to maintain that. So kudos to you and the rest of the group.
I appreciate that.
Anything as far as there's so much that you have your hands in when it comes to the special teams perspective that of this 28-person class, there are going to be some of these guys who get some taste on special teams. And we've seen that this year about when they come in. And these guys who, outside of Greg and Jeremy, when you get your eyes on them and think, okay, that maybe they're going to be part of things on special teams and be able to make an impact that way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for all these young guys. I think the quickest success that they'll see is on special teams, on kickoff, on punt return, and then you will see them get used to the game speed, because that was the hardest thing for me going from high school to college is the game speed, man. This thing, everyone's moving a lot faster. Well, how do you get them acclimatized? And it's on special teams and getting them running down. And so we've had the ability to have some freshmen play for us, and just seeing them grow throughout their 4 games and just seeing how much better they've gotten. I'm just excited for this group.
Yeah, it's got to warm your heart. I was watching some tape of some of these guys in this class, and they had special teams tape on their tapes. So I was like, oh yeah, those guys know what guys know where their bread's buttered.
Oh yeah, I love seeing offense and defensive guys run down on kickoff or punt return, and then also returning. It fires me up just because the more versatility you can do, the more the value you bring, right? And so just it's exciting because I get to work with both offense and defense, and what we're doing on both sides of the ball. It's a lot of fun. So it fires me up just watching all these highlight films. Like, man, these guys are going to be great on kickoff. Let's go.
It is a great day. Thanks so much for being here. And, again, we're all looking forward to what's to come. Not just this class, these 28 guys, the bowl game. There's a lot to be fired up about for Cougar football.
Yeah, go Cougs. Great day.
Thanks, Coach.
Pat Cashmore, our guest here, talking special teams as part of this 28-person signing day class. We will take one more break, and when we come back, we're going to have the GM of the Cougar football program, Ricky Ciccone, joining us as we will kind of go back to zoom out a little bit, get the big picture view on this class, how it all came together. We'll be with Ricky right after this break.
That was fun.
Yeah, but I can't find my phone.
Maybe try retracing your steps.
What's this? Hello?
Find your phone yet?
I'm still thinking.
This Washington State University sports broadcast is brought to you in part by Pullman Regional Hospital, the official hospital of Washington State Athletics. Rural communities face unique healthcare challenges. By providing hands-on opportunities for WSU students in health sciences, nursing, pharmacy, and the Elson S. Floyd College of Medicine, Pullman Regional Hospital is helping to shape the future of local healthcare. Learn more at pullmanregional.org. Pullman Regional Hospital and Washington State, partners in excellence.
Cougs, to lead in the new Pac-12, we have to attack this together. Name, image, and likeness, NIL, is essential. It's how our programs recruit, retain, and elevate our student athletes who don the crimson and gray. And now, you can directly support WSU NIL through our Cougar Athletic Fund. A tax-deductible gift to our Sport Excellence Funds powers WSU's NIL efforts, all in one place. Visit WSUCougars.com and select NIL in the drop-down menu to learn more. Go Cougs!
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
We are back at the Cougar Football Complex. It is the Washington State Football Signing Day special presented by Northern Quest. And one more big shout out for Northern Quest, our presenting sponsor, making this all happen. Northern Quest, earn your bragging rights at Northern Quest with more slot machines, table games, restaurants, lounges, and luxury hotel rooms than anyone else in the region. Northern Quest, yes, the best. More at northernquest.com. And we're saving for our final segment here, GM of the Cougar Football Program, Ricky Ciccone. Let's start right here. We're getting into it during the break. What time did you wake up this morning?
3 o'clock.
3 a.m. Oh,
3
boy.
a.m. 3 a.m. We were here right before 4:30.
DocuSign start rolling in at 5:01.
Yeah, close to it.
Wow.
Yeah, we were up on early working the phones.
What time do you go to bed? Because I imagine the phones are still probably being worked a little bit late.
About 11.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
so pretty reasonable night.
That's a reasonable.
Yeah, it's a quick turnaround.
It's a quick turnaround. What's
had 64 ounces of coffee already this morning.
Yeah. What's this day like for you? Because for you and the staff that you work with and everyone here is part of the Cougar Football Complex that makes everything possible. This is the culmination of a lot of hard work.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, kind of took the words right out of my mouth. It's the culmination of a lot of hard work from a lot of people. Obviously from our coaching staff to the support staff to the recruiting staff. Certainly our recruiting staff did a great job in terms of the personnel to the on-campus and, a lot of behind-the-scenes people that, make this thing go. And then our support staff and coaching staff and administration really from the top down. So it's a big day. It's a big day for our program in terms of the future of what, we're becoming. And, certainly the future is bright.
Speak a little bit to that. You're talking about, the behind the scenes, a lot of people. We had, all the position coaches here and coordinators talking, obviously Coach Rogers. But, I mean, really this starts with, obviously yourself and then a huge staff of, layers of kind of recruiting and that sort of thing. Just talk about that structure a little bit and how that plays out in ending up to today.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of our structure within our recruiting department, they do a lot of the identification. We spend a lot of time in terms of breaking down film, cutting up film, trying to get ground level footage, so we can see true movements of the players. And, I talk about like life's not a highlight tape. So, we want to know who these players are, good, bad, ugly, and get a realistic perspective of what we're getting, and then we value the multi-sport athlete and, try to do a good job in terms of surrounding ourselves with, not only good people, but then, dig into them and really kind of cast a net around them and see what makes them tick and, if they're a good fit here, So once you offer them, it's really just starting. That's kind of almost the starting point anymore in terms of, building a relationship, getting to see, get a feel for the kid and, and their parents and, whomever is impacting them on a daily basis or a big impact in their life. And, so it's an extensive process. It really is.
Some of the numbers again: 28 signees overall, 12 signees set to arrive in Pullman at the mid-year. 11 states represented. I know if there's a good football player out there that could help the program, this staff, everyone's going to go out and find them.
Yeah, I mean it's really about finding the right fit for the right reasons, and I think it's a good class. It's a complete class. We filled a lot of needs in really all aspects. From offense to defense, positionally, to the mid-year, to to the special team side of things. So, guys that we feel really strongly about that can come in and compete right away.
One thread that, as I talked to all the coaches, and you and I were chatting a little bit before the show started, I noticed a lot this theme around kind of the relationships this staff built with athletes, right? It was, whether it was, a guy like Malcolm Watkins that was recruited early on and went a different direction, now came back around, and everybody feels good about that. Your relationships down in the state of Louisiana, which led to some fantastic players that, played at a high level, but this kind of, especially in this day and age, candidly, with all the things going on and all the outside influence, it really feels like you guys and your staff leaned into that element of relationship building.
Yeah, I mean, it still comes down to relationships. It doesn't matter where you're at. You're going to lean into the relationships, that you have, and those are going to continually be ongoing. And, it's still a relationship business. It's a people business, and that's really, what it's about and kind of what sets the stage for it all. So, we did our due diligence in terms of trying to find guys that were the right fit, for the right reasons. And, once we turned a lot of guys away at the same time, that we didn't feel like was a fit for different reasons.
Yeah.
And I learned a long time ago, it's always about the guys that you do get.
Yeah.
While we're here today celebrating this 2026 class, I know you, everyone else, it's a never-ending process. You are working towards that next class. Who are the guys that can come in and help? How much is the success of this year? And, we're all excited to find out where the bowl destination is going to be in that bowl game coming. How much has had just a snowball positive effect when it comes to recruiting? It seems like everything just builds in a positive way.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. The best way, to make the biggest impact on recruiting is to be successful in the field. And, obviously bowl eligibility is just the start of it, a good year, and continue to work and build off of that.
How much, again, I'm as I look down this list of athletes and kind of where they're from or their backgrounds and things like that, and then I think about, them part of this whole process, right? Eventually they got to come on a visit to Pullman and see what this place is all about. I know what it's all about. Like I got to experience it. You're learning and you're in it.
Yep.
How much of that, these athletes, whether it's from Louisiana or Texas or wherever, they come to Pullman, they're like, this is a place for me. I can see myself having success here and enjoying this college experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big part of it. And, we try to prep them, prior to their visits. They have to envision themselves being here and being successful because they're the ones that are really going to have to live it on a daily basis, hopefully for 4 to 5 years. And, that's the biggest thing in terms of fit, is the town, is the college town a fit for them, is the university, is, our staff and everything that we have to provide here at WSU.
And then just kind of final thought, we've been touching on this throughout the broadcast, but I know it's so important when it comes to the NIL aspect of it, and it will pop up on the screen here. I know shortly we have that QR code. You can scan that, and then you can go right to the WSU NIL page, kind of those 3 aspects. You can join the Cougar Athletic Fund. You can support NIL that way through a tax-deductible donation to the CAF. You can join the Cougar Collective's 1890 Club, or you can partner your business with the student athlete through Playfly Max. And if you can just speak to just how important that is, because that matters in all this, whether it's what we're talking about today. I know retention a big part of it, just the big picture of what that means.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge, in terms of where, in terms of every dollar is important. Anything that anyone can do is extremely important to this. The game has changed. It's a completely different landscape even than it was, 2 years ago. So, if you love WSU and you're supportive of the Cougs, support and invest in the student athletes. And that's really what it is, in terms of not only the short-term success, but the long-term success of the program as well, and catapulting it to where it can be and needs to be.
Well said. Ricky, thanks for the time. And, between the two of you, as we just kind of put a bow on things here, just any final thoughts?
No, I get my excitement when I get to see the coaches talk about the athletes and see Ricky talk about, I know how much work it is to go through a recruiting cycle, and to have it come to fruition, and you look down the page, and not only does it appear that the athleticism, matches what you see on tape, but then you hear the stories about the kids and the families and the fit, which and I think that's the best part, because that's the only way, you can have success at a place like this, is if it fits for those athletes, and it appears it does.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, speed, length, athleticism, density in the body, and then obviously, from that standpoint, winners. People that have won at a high level,
really good point.
And we hit on that as well in terms of, we have a number of guys that are still playing, 2 that have already won state championships. So,
awesome.
That's a big part of it as well. So it's, like I said, it's about finding the right fit for the right reasons, and we're really, really pleased and excited about this group, and feel like it's a complete class overall.
Can't wait. Exciting day. Ricky, thank you for being here.
I appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
All right, it's time now for thank yous. First, for our presenting sponsor of the Signing Day Special, Northern Quest. Northern Quest, earn your bragging rights at Northern Quest with more slot machines, table games, restaurants, lounges, and luxury hotel rooms than anyone else in the region. Northern Quest, yes, the best. More at northernquest.com. For all of our guests, Jimmy Rogers, Danny Freund, Jake Minage, Donnell Kirkwood, Taylor Lucas, Jesse Bobbitt, Jalen Bibbs, Mike Banks, Pete Minage, Pat Cashmore, and Ricky Ciccone. For my broadcast partner, Alex Brink. And a reminder, if you're just joining us and you're catching the broadcast as it already started, this will be posted on the WSU Cougars YouTube page in its entirety to go back and watch on demand. The audio version will also be posted later today. You can listen on demand. That's to the Washington State Cougars podcast channel for the folks who make it all happen on the sports information side. Bill Stevens and Bobby Allworth, Jared Pringruber, all of his great work making the video side possible for Jerry Kylo. As always, making it happen on the audio side. Alex, thanks for being here. And now we're excited about this class, seeing these guys in crimson and gray, and then we got the bowl game right around the corner.
Can't wait.
I'm Chris King again, signing off. You've been tuned in live from the Cougar Football Complex, the Washington State Football Signing Day Special, brought to you by Northern Quest. Go Cougs!